leadership development, big passion of mine, big passion, I think, for everyone who's tuning in. So don't have anything mind blowing for you today, but I thought maybe I'd throw, with regard to the topic of leader development, the 3 outcomes that I've come to focus on during my time as a TAC officer and now as professor of military science and Army leader. And then I just picked 3 principles out of the many, the plethora that everyone has. Everyone has their top 10 or, a couple pages full of them. I'm going to go over 3. So that's where I'll go today. So the outcomes that we focus on are character, strength, and confidence. And, character, everything starts and ends with character. All right. Everything centers around values. Leaders, y'all get called to make decisions, oftentimes in situations you have no context, no experience. It's something new to you, right? That's why you're a leader. You got to figure it out. And when you're there, what do you fall back on to start that decision-making process, to figure out a solution? It's your character, it's your values, your morals, your ethics. So that is absolutely the critical ground when you're developing leaders. The very thing that anchors your ability to make that right decision, to solve the complex problem, is your strong moral footing. So at the center of the solid foundation from which to start the decision-making process, right? So we often think, or we hope, that this younger generation, that they're getting it as they grow up. And I think you find sometimes they're not. Sometimes it's not where you want it to be. Oftentimes it is. I know in our cadets, they're all great Americans, but they all are different places on that spectrum. And we really want to develop that in them. I do interviews for scholarships, and sometimes kids even struggle to put into words what they believe. Some of that's probably interview nerves, but oftentimes they just haven't thought about it. They haven't taken the time, to cement that so that it flows freely as it needs to for a leader. So we focus on confidence and character. All right, so that's the first outcome. Second, strength. We start with physical strength. It's easy, right? Let's do some push-ups. Let's go for a run. So we start with the physical strength, obviously important in the business that I'm in, that many of you are in, but also it creates that great jumping off point so you can then delve into some of the emotional strength that you need, the strength of character, and to get to develop that strength to overcome challenges, when you're in that unfamiliar and dynamic environment. So strength is critical. Then third is confidence. Confidence, not only that you're well-trained and you're skilled and you know your craft, you know your job, that confidence is obviously very important in a leader who's standing up front, but also critical is the confidence that you're able to solve those complex problems. You can go into those uncertain times and work your way through it, that you've built a team around you that can find a way to win. All right. So that's why confidence, the 2 sides of confidence there that are important as well. So character, strength, and confidence. And then 3 principles that I want to highlight out of many. Last time I listened to Eric Lopez. He mentioned that as a recruiter, he's dealing with millennials, and he's got to, when he starts to integrate new employees, he has to first welcome them and give them a hug, and then tell them what you're for and what your values are. And that's absolutely critical. I agree 100%. So the first principle that I emphasize with my cadets, especially the ones that we're still trying to recruit and get to join the Army, is that everything in life worth doing is hard. They need to hear that, because a lot of them have never failed at anything before. So you got to emphasize to them, everything in life worth doing is hard. And I also love, last time you were talking with Hank Perry, and he said that as a leader, it's okay to be a broken record. That he has to consistently communicate his vision. Leaders should do that. And that's absolutely true. They need to hear it. And it's one of those points that you have to emphasize over and over again, is that everything in life is worth doing is hard. Number 2 is you can disagree with somebody and still work with them, right? You can not agree on things with people and still love them, right? So there's common ground to find, and that's what leaders pay to do, to find that common ground. So if you present a unifying vision and a mission, and you keep your subordinates on azimuth, you can accomplish any task. All right. And then I'll wrap up with the last one that I think is absolutely critical. That little in life is black and white, right? Most of life happens in the gray area that falls in between. And that, frankly, is where leaders get paid to operate. You can't be afraid to step into the fog and bring clarity to any challenges before your team. So I joke with my cadets that, you know, someday they're going to get paid the medium bucks to operate in the gray area. I think it's absolutely true. You know, we find that we live in a world that more and more tells us that we have to choose sides, yes or no, right or wrong, left or right. You know, that's easier, and I would like to argue lazy, you know, to let yourself fall into this approach as a leader. You know, the media wants you, they would love for you to choose and a side, but that's because their profits lie to either side. It's boring in the middle, right? It's not profitable in the middle, but that's where you find the common ground, and that's where you work to find solutions, to solve problems, to diffuse tensions, and, you know, it's where you get together, have a beer sometimes. So it's better in the middle. You got to jump in that gray area and make sense of things, right? So don't be afraid to make a mess. As I tell the kids over and over again, don't be afraid to make a mess. Messes are okay. It's how we learn. And frankly, if you're not messing up every once in a while, you know, you're probably not trying hard enough. It's a common one you hear out there. So anyway, I think I've taken 6 minutes. I'm sorry. I'll do push-ups for you and develop my strength. But I'm truly humbled to be able to speak to you guys today. So thanks again.
Thanks, Scott. That was awesome. Give him a hand. That was great. That was awesome, brother.